Yo, what's up, YouTube? My name is Shisha Zed. What's up, guys? I am back in here with another episode of Shisha Zed and Friends. Today we've got Rebecca. She's back here again. It's been a while since I've actually had a guest back on the channel, so it feels good to have Rebecca back on here. I wanted to talk about marriage because this is a topic that I wish you guys actually addressed earlier in that podcast. But towards the end, I thought it was really cool because you asked the question to, I believe it was Fresh, and you asked him, you said, hey, Fresh, you've been married before, right? And then they confirmed that he was married, and you asked him if he sees himself getting married in the future. Was that was a question you asked, right?
Yeah, I posted to both of them just to see if marriage was still on the table for Fresh and if marriage is on the table for Myron. I want to ask a question.
Sure.
I know that you were formerly married, correct?
Oh, he definitely was. I was.
Stupid. Is marriage still on the table for you guys, or are you guys done with marriage? How do you feel about it? So yeah, I don't think I got a straight answer, but that's...
Well, here's what I thought was really surprising to me. When a lot of people come into the space, channels like myself, and I'm sure Fresh and Fit as well, they don't think that Fresh would say something like he did because he wasn't like completely against the idea of marriage.
In this case, right now, focus on business and building my empire here, and right now where I'm at, I'm too focused on doing other stuff. Now, in the future, it could change, but just me knowing the current laws and how things are set up, for most men, it's not worth it. But see, you can still get married. But why do I have to involve the government? Like, I'll go to church and do the whole ceremony and ring like that, but why do I have to involve the government in my relationship?
In fact, Myron even said like he still believes in the institution of marriage.
I mean, and here's the sad part, man, because I do believe in the institution of marriage. Like, my parents are still together to this day.
Yep.
They married Islamically in Sudan and then came over here in the 80s. So I believe in it because I'm not that messed up, and I attribute that to my parents, being able to, I had a masculine dad that was a leader, and then I had a mom that was feminine and very submissive to my father.
So first of all, I was actually like, okay, that's what's up, because I say a lot of the times that I'll get married, and of course, I've got people in my comment section who think oh, you're such an idiot, bro, you're gonna get got, blah blah blah, be careful, or whatever, you know what I mean? But what I thought was cool was he wasn't completely against it. And the reason being is that people who stay married, good families who stay together, produce better people. That's just what it is, right? Statistically speaking. I think Myron actually addressed that point, that people who come from two-parent households just tend to do better in life, right?
100%.
If you look at criminals, convicted felons, degenerates, drug addicts, everything else like that, anyone that is degenerate to society, 9 out of 10 times comes from a single mother household. And, I always say it's because fathers typically are your first line of defense for your children to protect them from fucking themselves up. You know what I'm saying? Like, because your dad is supposed to punish you to let you know that there's consequences to bad decisions
in real life,
so that when you go out into the real world, it's not the police or other people that are checking your bad behavior with serious consequences. It's your dad just smacking you in the face saying, don't do that shit. And then bang, you get it right there and then when you're young and impressionable. Oh, there's consequences to my actions and it hurts.
And so marriage is good. Marriage is a good thing. I think that marriage is a good thing. I say that I will get married, but there's a difference with, of course, my perspective, because a lot of times I tell people that I'm never going to sign papers because I don't want it to be legal. And, this is when people are like, well, is it married if you don't sign papers? I'm like, of course it's marriage. It's marriage if you don't sign papers, right? I'm from Africa, right? There's people in villages who they don't have paperwork. They just come together and they pray and believe that you're ordained, and people get married that way. And of course, I'm not, that spiritually into my roots. For me, it's completely for the reason that I don't think the laws right now favor men and women. I think the laws right now really just favor women when it comes to marriage. The man gets the worst deal, but that doesn't mean that you can't still get married in my books. What do you think of that?
I would agree with a lot of the points that you made. We got married in like with the contracts and everything. We, we did a Christian ceremony, and then we also did like the legal side of it as well, where our pastor signed off on the legal paperwork for it. This is going to come to a surprise too. I didn't sign a prenup. We didn't establish a prenup. And that was based off
It's over for him. It's over for him. No, I'm just kidding.
No,
keep going.
But this is where I kind of speak to what you're doing before marriage, right?
Oh, okay.
So the whole vetting process of finding a mate and getting married. See, where I think a lot of people, they can blame the system all they want. And rightfully so. It is screwing a lot of guys out of a lot of money and honestly just breaking up the family. I definitely understand that side of it. But I think this is where people need to take personal accountability and responsibility for what they do before marriage, right? There's you are dating someone for a while, you're engaged for a season, and then you get married. I understand that people change over time, but that is why premarital counseling exists. You get out a lot of the stuff ahead of time. My husband and I almost broke up twice in premarital counseling. I almost left him twice. It was me who wanted to initiate that. And
of course.
Exactly. No, it's true. It's true. Hypergamy is a real thing. So yeah. Yes.
I won't derail anymore. I'm listening.
Yeah. The conversation could go so many ways.
Yeah.
But we aired out a lot of issues that we were having beforehand with a counselor present, and even doing internal work ourselves. We like to say that we have courageous conversations where we sit down and have these conversations that are uncomfortable to have, right? Things about our pasts, what we've done, what we haven't done, what our family dynamics are, what we expect out of marriage, what our roles need to be, what we envision our life together. Talking about number of kids, all of that stuff gets laid out on the table ahead of time, right? If things don't align with what your morals and values are as well, that's a red flag. So what I think is happening today is that people are not intentionally dating. They're not intentional about who they're selecting as their mate for the rest of their lives. And that is what plays into divorce rates. And the fact that in marriage alone, no one wants to talk about their problems. Counseling, marriage counseling comes when everything hit the fan, right? When resentment has stacked up. And I think a lot of these things can be mitigated through counseling, through internal work, through having courageous conversations, through having mentors and people that have been married. We attend a marriage group every Saturday. I can share it with you guys. It's amazing. It's on Zoom. People have been married in this group for 20, 30 years. We're seeing couples.
This is a group of married people? Or
yes, engaged people and married people.
Yeah, I can drop it right here.
Yeah, and it's amazing. It's led by a couple, and we engage and we ask hard questions. And I think it's a really important thing.
Real quick, before you get to the end of your point, because I wanted to ask this earlier, what I'm hearing for you, just so I know, I'm understanding exactly what you're saying. Are you saying it's a matter of people understanding what marriage is before they get into it, or a matter of also I'm hearing like compatibility and understanding that you're able to be compatible with this person and you both understand each other's roles? Is that what happens during premarital counseling?
Yeah, all of that needs to get vetted out. Like the thing is that we think that getting engaged and going like the engagement season is just preparing for the wedding day. You need to prepare yourself for marriage. I didn't think I was going to lose my dad this year, but when I did, we were prepared, right? We were already so close. We were like, we could support each other the way that we could support each other because we knew how to speak to each other in times of crisis. And so when people learn this ahead of time, when they learn these skills and they apply it, you're essentially building a tool belt of tools that you're going to need to fix your marriage along the way. So that's
I actually agree. I agree with marriage, the idea that people should get marital counseling before they get married. And I know that works for a fact because I know other people whose marriages were kind of saved by making sure, just like yours, they had that happen. I've actually, a lot of people don't know this, been in premarital counseling twice myself. Yeah,
wow.
Surprise. Yeah, we're just going to put that out there on YouTube. Now it's here to stay, right? And so here's where I'm at with it, right? I hear it. It sounds great. My only problem is this. I think there's two things going on. And the greater issue, I think, is different from what you're talking about, is human nature.
Yeah.
So with most people, the idea that they'll be incentivized to leave somebody is a very tempting situation. What do I mean? You get married to somebody, right? You get to the point, because there is points in a relationship, in a marriage, where two people just dislike each other. We're talking about strongly dislike each other. And they feel like, I can't stand this individual, right?
Yeah.
I know that myself because I have two wonderful parents who are still married, but it wasn't easy for them. But they're still married. And they come from a different culture, though. You know, they can't grasp the thought of leaving each other for roots that, you know, different reasons that just trace back to where, you know, they weren't born here. So there's that. But I think when you're angry, because this is how it, practically speaking, you're upset with your partner, there's contention, you're angry with them, you get to the point where resentment builds to hatred, and you can work things out. You can go see a therapist. Maybe he cheated on you, right? This is the real shit people are going through. Maybe she feels like you're no longer taking her out. You know I've heard this before. Like, yeah, if you don't take a girl out, she might leave you, which I think is ridiculous. But I understand you have to take a girl out. But at the same time, women will leave for anything. Men, they might leave too, but women have the greater chance of leaving. My point is this. Human beings are incentivized to end marriages right now. Myron mentioned it. He said it's profitable, right? He says people profit from divorce. Sure, men get screwed over in the long run. And I think that's the bigger problem. It's a human nature thing. And as long as you incentivize people to make that decision to break up the family, I don't see that changing, because now you're betting against human nature. You get what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
I disagreed with Myron on one point where he said that he doesn't see the laws changing. I think they will change. And I don't think men are going to change it, because I've said this in another video. I think women are going to change it.
I agree. And that's where I asked the second question, what can we do to change the laws? Like, I'm here ready to change laws.
I don't think there's anything we can do. I think people like you are going to change laws.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, what do I have to do to change the law? This is what I mean by this. This is what I mean by this. It's surprising that there are females who are actually like when other women come and they listen to content like this, they don't see a problem with it. They're like, marriage is great. What? If I want to divorce, I can divorce. I don't see what's wrong with it. But you're able to see things from a male perspective. Yeah. That's rare, right? That's rare. It's very, very rare. Now, look at the Kelly Clarkson situation with her and her husband, where now she's paying her husband off, I think it was $200K a month in alimony and child support, right? We live in a gynocentric society, and I think the more that happens and more women are now being affected by those unfair laws, because, hey, man, take the money too. Don't do the gentleman thing. You know what I mean? If you feel like
she's being a horrible person. You know, you don't have to stay in like an abusive marriage. At the end of the day, I think men should be able to divorce. But when it doesn't benefit the woman, they're going to complain. The difference is they're going to actually listen to the women complaining. When it gets to almost half of women, or somewhere close, of them complaining about the situation of having to pay alimony till someone dies, that's ridiculous. You know?
Well, here's something funny about that as well. You know, modern feminism says, womanism says that we should be equal, right? It's equality of the sexes. And if that's true equality, then women should be able to pay child support. Like, I don't understand.
You know they're going to complain about that.
100%, because it's always the victim. Exactly, because women tend to play the victim card. And it is outplayed and it's outdone. Like, please stop. I want all women to hear this. Please stop playing the victim. Take personal accountability. Take personal responsibility for the actions that you take. If you are in a bad relationship, work on it. Like, I don't understand where people, this is also where I have a problem. People don't know how to fight fair. They don't know how to fight fair because everything is me. What can I get? And I will also say lawyers play a huge role in this, because lawyers make bank when you say, I'm going to take everything, right? So there should be more mediation available, or it should be the thing that's pushed. But of course, like you said, it's a profitable business. Lawyers are making millions and millions of dollars off of people saying, I'm going to take everything and I'm going to strip this person of all of their finances, all of their hard-earned money. And I think it's disgusting. I really, honestly, like, to my core, am repulsed by people who do this. And more women, if they are making that type of money, should pay out what men pay.
They will. I honestly believe that. I believe that will happen. And when that happens, and now we have women who are getting got the same way that men are, that's when the change will come. What I don't, this might sound like a bleak, if I look at human nature and just look at like a pattern of like things that bring change, you know, especially in the society we're living in right now, women have the influence and power to change laws. Men right now who are talking the way I am are seen as like, whoa, I don't get it. Why are you complaining? Like, you're a man. You're supposed to, you know, pay. I deserve, you know, we have that like Blue Jasmine thing of like, I deserve the same treatment you gave me, you know, even after we're not together. And that's ridiculous. But I'll say this. Another surprising thing that I think a lot of people don't pay attention to. Many men who follow my channel actually do want to get married. And I also believe the majority of people follow yours and Fresh and Fit's channel and all the other channels, Kevin Samuels. I mean, Kevin Samuels is advocating for marriage.
100%.
You know? A lot of people want to get married. This is including men. Now, the vocal minority, the ones that are going to be in my comment section after I post this talking about waste of time. Nope, no point in it. Fuck it. You know what I mean? Fuck marriage, blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, okay, dude, I get it. I hear you. I understand. I'm not going to like shoot anybody down for not wanting to get married. But I'm assuming the guys that do see marriage as something that's worth it are like me, where they're kind of like, yeah, if I do, cool. If I don't, but hey, I do want to get married. It would be nice if I ran into somebody who kind of can understand that like a man is to be in charge. You know, someone who has the mindset like you, Rebecca, like there's not a lot of women who can have this conversation without getting offended and actually being able to see things from a different perspective. But I believe most men do want to get married. They do, right? Regardless of what you may see. It's just because like people speak out when something's negative a lot more than they do when something's positive. If they agree with the video, they'll like it. Maybe not even like it. They'll just keep scrolling and keep subscribing, right? If they dislike it, now for anybody, it's just human nature. They'll go on the comment section, you know, go like, you're leading men to the slaughter, like, fuck you, you know, and just, like, it gets kind of crazy. But I understand. And another thing is, your parents are still married right now, right?
Well, my dad passed away, but yes, they were, it's okay. But my parents were married, and they never got divorced. And to kind of give you a little bit more ammunition, my dad was a cheater. He cheated multiple times in the relationship.
Of options.
Sure. Yeah. Cheat. He definitely exercised all of his options every chance that he could get. But this is where I sat down and talked to my dad about this, because I was very resentful of him when I learned, like, as an adult. Obviously, when you're a child, you don't really know what's going on. I sided with my mom a lot, not knowing what was happening. And as an adult, I could have a sit down conversation. And I learned a lot from my dad's perspective that I would have brushed off if I didn't give him the chance to explain why he did it. And not to call my mom out, she's a wonderful woman and I respect her for like the rest of my life. She is my person, right? But this is what my mom tells me as well. If you withhold sex in marriage, the man will step out. Whether it is immediate, right? Because some men lack discipline. Some men need or take a little bit more time, and it breaks them down. Imagine not getting any love, any affection in the home, and then someone else that they work with, or, you know, someone that they interact with on a regular basis is, you know, giving them compliments, it's giving them hugs.
Yeah.
That breaks a man down to the point where he considers, maybe I can exercise this option. Yeah. And my mom told me every single day, she literally harped this at me: have sex with your husband anytime he wants it. Point blank, period. And my sister and I both live to that standard, right?
It's a good mom right there.
My husband and all the people in the comments like, yo, your husband gets it. And yeah, he does when he wants it, because that is my role in marriage, right? And if a man is not getting it in the home, this is what you're seeing. Women withhold sex as a form of control, a form of let me own this relationship. And this is how she maintains her power in the relationship. And unfortunately, it never works. It never works. And then they get upset when their husband steps out. And then this is where this whole cheating, divorce situation comes from. That is a majority, but again, it goes back to money. It goes back to different things. We fell out of love. I don't believe in those things, because if you are working on your marriage, if you are intentional, if you are seeking counsel, if you are talking to your spouse, yes, things will build up. But if you let it build up to the point where you're so resentful, you can't even look at that person in their face, you have a problem. You had a problem that you need to address. When my husband and I get into, you know, we don't get into arguments often, but when we do get into argument, he says, I need time. I give him space. We don't have the talk then. The next day, wakes up refreshed. We can have a talk. I apologize. We, as women, we have to learn how to apologize. Ooh. As a woman, we need to know and understand that we are most likely in the wrong in the argument. So again, I think that a lot of this divorce conversations is because people are not working on their marriage. They're not working on their relationship. Like, to your point, your parents are still together. Yeah, they've gone through some rough times, I'm sure, but they're still together because they learned that it's about duty. It's about discipline.
So let me ask you this. Do you think it's more to do with laws, or do you think it's more to do with, like, preparation before marriage? Because I think the laws are the issue.
I think the laws...
The preparation.
I think the laws are definitely not helping the situation. And I think that could have propelled people to make worse decisions, because before marriage, divorce was never an option. Like, I feel like it was not it wasn't an exercise option as easily accessible as it is today, right? You can file for divorce.
It was an option, but it wasn't a good option, right?
Exactly.
Like, you could leave, but if you're a woman at that time, maybe you couldn't get a job that would sustain you. And also, people would look at you like a failure because, people are like highly Christian influenced at that time. But let me say this, now things have kind of gone so much the other way, right? If we go back and look at like relationships in the past, if someone wanted to leave, there were clear reasons why women should have been granted like more freedom to leave a relationship. I'm not saying women shouldn't be able to leave relationships. I'm saying you shouldn't be able to receive money from your husband for the rest of your life. It's just kind of ridiculous to me. That idea is just really ridiculous. And I honestly believe if a woman thought to herself, in that moment where she's angry and she has the divorce lawyer on the phone and she's asking for the paperwork and she's just pissed off, right? If she thought to herself, if I sign these papers, this means that he's going to support me for, let's say, 4 or 5 years, depending on how long it's been. And it's not till the end of my life.
Yes.
I won't get half of everything. Like, it's going to be more sensible. As in, yeah, he might help me for 3 or 4 years, but then I'm on my own. Do I really want to
do
this guy?
Yeah.
Right now, it just makes sense. Like I'll leave. Watch me. And whoop, signs the papers. Like, I've heard horror stories of guys who've dated women and heard them have conversations with their ex-husbands on the phone, and they're going back and forth. And she's like, whatever, man, just make sure you just fucking pay me. Just make sure you send that money, cursing him out. And like, she has to do what he has to do. And that's what I think the biggest problem is. Go ahead.
I 100% agree. I think the laws definitely need to change. I think the laws really benefit the woman. And again, it goes to the fact that it's allowing women to play the victim card, and it's allowing women to exercise this option. And if I was a man too, I would be weary. Okay. I understand.
Did you get that video I sent you?
Yes. That was terrifying.
Get away from me. Get away. Don't you want to let me in my car? You're going to wait for the police. Turn around. Get the away from my mother car. Get away from my car. Vegan, and you mother. When I see you, remember this, mother. Remember this.
That video right there is like a man's like worst nightmare. When men think of marriage and it going and here's the thing, like, men are logical people. So the statistics are right in front of you. You know what I mean? 80% of women, I think 70% of women initiate divorce. And then you have divorce rates are like over 0.5% right now at like 60, 70%. To a man, it's like, this is obviously a bad investment. It's the logical thing to do. But we see guys still getting married. That's because we know marriage is a good thing. And you can trust in like counseling. I think all those things are good. I think people who are getting into counseling do better. But it's that moment where your emotions have taken over your logic and you need something to slap you back into reality. And you're thinking of leaving this person, but then instead of thinking, wait, I'm going to lose all the support eventually, I'm going to lose all this money, and he is a good man, he is a good provider, it turns into that Blue Jasmine situation of, wait, I can leave this guy and still keep his money? You know what I mean? It's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. This is why I say it's a human problem, as in I don't blame some women, even though I think it's not the right thing. But you look at that, and the marriage, maybe in the marriage you have to forgive cheating, you have to forgive like terrible shit, because people do go through terrible shit. Or you could just take the exit. And I look at it, terrible move, doesn't help people, but they're incentivizing these people to make these decisions.
I agree.
Biggest problem in my books.
I want, like, the thing is that I agree so much to this, and this is why it frustrates me so much. And I understand, I can see why men are so frustrated about this topic, about marriage and divorce, because it is so, it's soul crushing to know that, like, if I invest in this, right, I could lose literally everything. As a business move, as someone who's an entrepreneur, as a business move, if I knew that right there, like, if I knew it was a bad bet, I would not place the bet. But you're, like, literally like 60-40, like 50-50.
Yeah,
we don't know what the probability is, right? But this is so.
Well,
this is why
a man loses up to like 70% of his wealth. After divorce, things around there.
And here's the thing. This is, I harp on the intentionality of dating and the intentionality of the engagement season, right? I think it is a human issue. I think it's very much stemmed from feminism or womanism, like the M word. I don't know if X, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the destruction of the nuclear family. And I talk about this as well. We are being incentivized to destroy the nuclear family. And
right there.
And because what happens with this is that you don't have good people raising good people. And that's what creates dysfunction and dystopia, because you don't know what morals, there's no morals. The person is not getting the side of the mother and the father. They're not learning what it means to love. They don't know what it means to have a conversation. Everything is, well, if it's not my way, then I can't function in society, and I'm going to demonize you on the internet and shut you down. Like, that's terrifying to me. And now that I'm pregnant and I want to raise my daughter to understand what love actually looks like from her father and what love looks like from her mother, and say, you are not defined by society, right? That's not what you're defined by. But so many people are defined by how many Instagram followers they have, how many likes they have on videos, all of this stuff, right? So we're getting all of our love and validation from the internet and society, right? So of course you have women on the Fresh and Fit podcast. Of course you have people like Blue Jasmine that don't know how to act, because if she had a father there saying, that's not how you do it, are you kidding me? And she's raising a son that is going to be problematic because she is problematic. And we're seeing this, and that's what's getting the views. That's what gets the hype, right? Show bad behavior, but not show good behavior and what actually can help society and what actually can help women. And that's why I do my videos, and I'm so passionate about making my videos and giving a balanced view, because I think women need to wake up. Like, wake up from whatever this slumber is that they're going through, and like the programming of this ideology, right? The womanist ideology.
Yeah.
And just stepping away from that and learning, wow, I can live in my femininity. My husband can take care of me. I can still have a career. I can still do what I want, right? But I don't need to be above the man. Like, this whole equality of the sexes works in policies for like work and whatever, but not in the home. Yes.
Yeah, very true.
It doesn't work here in the home. And this discussion, the thing is, like, this discussion is so deeply rooted in the whole destruction of our civilization right now. And we're seeing it play out in different facets of life, right? Divorce courts, marriage, relationships, the battle between men and women, right? And then what is gender fluid expression and all this other crap? Like,
yeah,
we've lost our way. Shisha, we've lost our way.
I want to say this, man.
Sorry.
Hearing you talk, no problem. It made me laugh. Hearing you talk, man, I can really relate to your appreciation for a marriage and a family. And like I said on the Fresh and Fit podcast, when you asked that question, it didn't get met with the same hostility that you sometimes see men have. And I'll be honest with you, I don't blame those men, because a lot of these guys who, especially the ones who feel very strongly against marriage, have already been divorced.
Yes.
I know what I know, right, from my own past experience seeing my parents stay together. But I don't think I know so much to know that I'll still be the same person once a woman has taken everything from me. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know what that version of myself looks like. I've been through bad relationships and like, okay, yeah, maybe like a girl broke my heart a few too many times and I was simping. Yeah, that was pretty bad though. But I was simping pretty bad, you know, and took the red pill and now I'm, you know, different. I don't tolerate that anymore. But it's something different to have like a lifelong lasting effects from a bad marriage. And a lot of guys are dealing with that right now. So I understand where that anger is coming from. Mm-hmm. I will say this though. There's still benefit to marriage to most people. I believe that. And I still believe many men, even the ones that have been through that, mm-hmm. a good majority of them still want to get married.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
The other thing I was going to say was, myself, my parents stayed together. Your parents stayed together. Myron talked about how his parents are still married. And right there, I'm like, wait, all these people who had parents who were still married and they saw it work out, they all believe in marriage.
Yeah.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
It makes sense. A lot of people here have not seen that. Mm-hmm. They don't know what that looks like, especially if they're raised up with a single mother. Mm-hmm. And I think I have to remember that not everybody has seen firsthand experience what a gift it is to have somebody in your life who's just kind of like, hey, I'm here through the thick and thin no matter what. Jordan Peterson, he says it the best. I remember he was interviewing some like womanist, and she was proud of the fact that, I'll probably put the clip on this video, she was proud of the fact that she went through her 30s to her 40s, and she said, oh, I'm not, married, or what she was really saying is that I don't have kids either. And she said, I kind of feel bad for my friends who have kids. And she was trying to, play herself like she's better than them.
Most young women are taught badly that the most important thing that they'll do in their life is their career. And that's simply not true. It's not true for most people, and it's certainly not true for most women.
I certainly wasn't taught that myself. I feel like I'm doing quite well in my career, but I still have pressures. People who are saying, when are you actually going to succeed properly by having a baby? Yeah. I kind of find that slightly offensive. I'm 38. Mm-hmm. I feel like I've got through my early 30s without almost luckily, when I look at what my friends have to deal with their children. Mm-hmm. I almost feel a little bit blessed. Mm-hmm. What do you say to that?
Mm-hmm. And his response to that was great. He said, and I heard this on MTR's channel. Mm-hmm. He said to her, you may feel that way now, but as you begin to go over 40, get into your 50s, your life could get very, very lonely. Mm-hmm.
Well, I would say that it starts to get pretty lonesome in life after 45 if you don't have a family.
Right now, it sounds real cool to come on here and be like, fuck marriage, like I'm going to be good all by myself, never going to happen. I've worked with a lot of elderly people. I've said this before, and it's given me a very unique perspective into understanding how lonely life can really get when you really don't have anybody. No kids, no husband or wife. It's just you in that nursing home, man. And you don't know when you're going to get in that place, right? We weren't made to be alone. Human beings weren't made to suffer through life by yourself, you know?
I'm tearing up right now.
Yeah, that like lone wolf image. I think I heard KS talk about this, that like lone wolf image that like men like to idolize. You know, you're weak when you're by yourself. You're weak when you don't have somebody behind you and a pack and a group of people who are going to protect you. There's a reason people like the content that you produce and like I produce. The reason people just like these groups of people producing content on YouTube, because they feel like they belong somewhere. Mm-hmm. There's a sense of a community. Mm-hmm. We just gravitate towards these type of things. No matter how much you want to say you don't need somebody in your life, you're good on your own, you do. That's the truth. I believe we're all better off with somebody. It may not be a ring on your finger, but it may look something. I'm open to the fact that it may look different to every person. You may decide to get married and the only person that saw you do it was God or your best friend there. And he like, you know, did the holy water, whatever, you know, whatever it is. Yeah. You know, whatever it was. At the end of the day, I think it's important to acknowledge like having somebody in your life there in your later years, especially, is just like a wonderful thing.
I agree with you. I don't think I could have said it any better. And I think it goes for both men and women because, you know, to your point, you said the lone wolf, right? Like you want to roll with the pack, and the extremes of that are the women that are the extreme womanists, and then the men who also think that, you know, what's the point? And I'm like, not only women are going to die alone if this is the rate we're going, you know, it will have to balance out. Men are going to also see the repercussions of that as well. And that's where I have a problem, because you're seeing people that are just sad, like sad people dying alone. And that's terrifying to me. That's why I speak. That's why you speak, so that we're giving positive messages to people, because I think everyone deserves love. I think everyone deserves a chance to be with someone. They should not die alone. No one should die alone, you know? Yeah. And it's a beautiful thing when you find a life partner that can be with you through the thick and the thin, and through the high points of your life and the very, very low, you know? And that's what I want for more people out there. And that's why I'm trying to change women, so that we get out of this headspace that we're in and come to our senses, so that men can propose to women again. Like, yeah, that's the goal.
It's possible. It's possible. No, I feel you. I've had friends, man. I've had friends who like, maybe they'll see a thumbnail or something I'll put on my story. I'll be like, what the hell, man? You're always talking about these crazy things and whatever. Like, people are so out of the loop. People are so out of the loop, man. It's like when you're in the space of seeing things from a more balanced perspective, people are so out of the loop. It's like you think people are thinking the way we're thinking right now, like, hey, there's balance to life. There is this masculine, there is this feminine energy. But no, most people think you just kind of get there and wing it. And that's why they're fucking failing, right? I've had friends tell me, after I've explained to them why I post what I post, they've said, wow, as much as I hate what you're saying about women, as much as I hate what you're saying about like men who kind of just like create these monsters out of women by chasing them and, you know, giving them validation and making them feel like these queens for doing absolutely nothing. Like, everybody's not doing their part, right? She says, it all makes sense. I just had a friend tell me this. It all makes sense. And I referenced her, I think it was another friend's channel, I think your channel, and sent her some other stuff from like KS. But people are looking for a different perspective. People are looking for something different. And I've seen it. If men can stumble on RP content and because all RP content really is me basically saying in every video, hey, this is what you need to avoid. And if you can avoid this, then you can better spot a woman who is worth your time, worth your attention, right? And if you do want to get married, worth you getting married to. But there's so much bullshit that I have to remind them, like, hey, bullshit comes in all shapes and sizes. Just because she's pretty and soft-spoken doesn't mean that she's not selfish and doesn't have a distorted view of the world. Or just because she comes from a two-parent home doesn't automatically mean that she's like sees things the right way. Ask her what she, what she thinks a relationship is about. Or a woman has to respect you. A whole lot of different ways, like, you can get caught up in this life as a man. But ultimately, it's so your life can be better. It's so your life can be more peaceful. So you can have more good people around you. That's what all this thing's about, man. At least my channel. That's what
my channel
get
too.
Rid of the bullshit. Yours. I know your channel's about that for sure. I've been over there, right? Get rid of the bullshit and focus on the good. Focus on the positive, right? Which is why I think it was so good to have you on Fresh and Fit, because it was like positive vibes. We didn't need drama.
No drama. Yeah. I mean, you keep hitting it on the head. I think that, I would love to hear what men would want women to do, what we can do to change, because talking here is great. Bringing up these conversations are amazing. But until we start seeing the change in our physical world, that's when we can make a greater impact. And that's when our words will resonate with more people, because they're seeing things change.
Here's what I think. Avoid signing papers, avoid what looks like legal marriage until women complain loud enough, because they're going to listen to them. They won't listen to me. That's where I'm at right now. That's seriously where I'm at. Like, more Rebeccas get on YouTube and they're just like, I'm fucking paying alimony for this motherfucker. This is ridiculous. And I see more of those videos. I'll be like, yo, I think it's happening. Here comes, I honestly
here's the thing. I'm not mad about it. I think, that's your opinion and I appreciate it. I'm going to keep advocating for marriage the whole way.
The whole way. Huh?
Yeah, the whole way. All. I mean, look.
What's the difference though? What's the difference?
Honestly, it makes it, okay, this sounds really bad, but it makes it real. Like, when I changed my name to Rebecca Barrett, that whole legal process, first of all, for women, this is it's a very hard process. You have to go through Social Security office. It's a long thing. Couldn't
you still change your name to his, even without the marriage?
You have to show a marriage certificate to the Social Security office. So unless that changes, I don't know. But I thought to me, it was such a beautiful experience to take on my husband's name. I think that right there alone in itself was the thing that kind of stamped it for me. Like, I knew I was married.
That's awesome. Because now it's the other way around.
Yeah, everyone, what is happening?
Yeah, it's crazy.
What is happening?
I see these guys, yeah.
But that's where, you have to show legal documentation to do that, and to buy a home together, right? If I want to have my last name on it, those parts of the law, if it works for the collective couple, it's beautiful. We've been seeing this tarnished view of what marriage looks like, and it's sad, because I wish there were more people that were on YouTube or talking about the beauty of marriage and saying, look, we've gone through our own stuff too. But
if you're to give advice in general to most men,
okay,
do you think they're going to run into girls that think like you?
To be honest, no.
Even with what they know, no, right?
But that's why
What would you tell them?
There's a bunch of women.
That's what I'm saying. Like, the chances, because there's a lot of variables to this thing. You might have a bunch of women on your channel that do agree, but they could be spread out. What I mean is, like, the majority of men that are probably in the manosphere aren't going to run into a woman that thinks like you. So for the majority of men, the best way is you can do the Kanye West thing of like the ironclad prenup. You know what I mean?
And here's the thing.
You could just not sign the papers.
And here's the thing. If you want to do a prenup, I think that conversation needs to be had. A very proper conversation needs to be had about the prenup situation. If you want to get a prenup, by all means, talk with your partner about it, right? I've seen so many people say, oh, you got to test drive the car before you you buy it or whatever. And you get insurance policies and whatnot. So I'm not opposed to prenups. I didn't get a prenup for my marriage, and we agreed upon that. It was not, he didn't bring it up or I brought it up. We brought it up together, said, is prenup on the table? And we both kind of came to the conclusion that it wasn't. So if it's for you guys, good for you. If it's not, then don't do it or don't sign the papers. I don't know.
Got you.
I wish I had better advice for that.
I feel you. I feel you. It's
a personal decision.
I think it is a personal decision. It's like a weird situation a lot of guys are in. But overall, I appreciate the conversation. Rebecca, thank you so much for coming on to another episode of Chisha Zed and Friends. I think this is a good combo for sure. Hey guys, if you guys enjoyed this video, do me a favor and hit that like button. Also, if you're not subscribed, consider subscribing. Check out Rebecca's channel, man. Show her some love on there too. Until next time, I'm out. Peace.